Hey guys, welcome back, and I am just getting ready to finish off my armature here. Here's the little guy. Hands are now plugged in, and they will come off if I want them to, so that I can later, take them off and mess with them individually if I wanted to. Although I don't foresee needing to do that, but you could set it up that way, and it completely matches my armature map, which is very important. So now I'm just going to do the head. So what I've done, just to accommodate the gauge of brass tubing that I put this piece of 1/8 inch armature wire on the grinder. Okay, and what that did is it kind of made it a little smaller there at the tip so that I could slip it on there, and I took the liberty of measuring this out, so I know how far, about how far this will go in here, and where I want it to go, and then I know how far this will go in, and I've marked that, and now I'm going to go ahead and stick this on the, well, not on the grinder, sorry, I'm going to use the Dremel to cut this down to size and get it ready to use my, my plug. Now, I just want to point out, every single time I've ever used the Dremel, little bits of metal have flown right into my eye. Okay, so if you're thinking, I'll get some goggles next week. No, if you're playing with this stuff, please wear goggles every single time. Never, ever, ever, ever forget to wear the goggles. Very, very important. Okay, so this is going to slip on here, and just to make sure that I get a good adhesion of that tube to this, I'm going to go ahead and score it up a bit with the cutters. I'll probably go ahead and take my pliers as well and just get it nice and gnarly, and that's going to help it to stick to or to get the glue to stick a little bit better. Okay, this is the plumber's putty. And as you can see, it's, well, you probably can't see, but it's two different colors, and I'm going to knead it until it becomes one color. This stuff is pretty nasty. It's very toxic. Most people, I think smart people, generally use gloves when they're kneading this, or a plastic bag, maybe. I find it really difficult to do it that way because the stuff tends to stick to anything. Actually, it doesn't stick too bad to nylon, so if you want to use nylon gloves, then yeah, these latex gloves, I'm sorry, not nylon, vinyl. I thought that was wrong. Vinyl gloves does not stick to vinyl gloves, although vinyl gloves break a lot easier than latex gloves, so kind of annoying either way you slice it. I don't worry about it too much. I just use some low odor mineral spirits to wash it off. You can also use rubbing alcohol. You can use nail polish remover will do it. Pretty much anything that will strip paint will do it. Okay, so what I've done is I've put the plumber's putty inside this, and then I put my finger at the top and slid it down, and that kind of ensures that it's got nice uniform coating inside there. Okay, and now I'm going to do the same with the other side, the piece that I've just cut, which is right here. And I'm going to go ahead and stick it on with the part that I cut sticking out, because the other side is much cleaner. If you don't have a clean side, it's really no big deal, but I just do that as a rule of thumb if I have that option, just to make sure that I don't get stuck in there. Okay, And so what I'm doing is I'm just putting a little bit of the putty at a time into this hole and then mashing it down with a little piece of armature wire that I have left over that I use just as a tool to kind of mash it down in there. And just to make sure, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more. This stuff, remember, this stuff does not dry with air or anything like that. It cures. So it is going to cure one way or the other in a few minutes, no matter what. You have a very short window of time to work with plumber's putty until it just completely cures on you. Okay, so I've got I think a good amount in there, and I'm going to slide it on to the armature wire. Okay, looking good. I'd like to use a bigger pair of pliers on this. There we go. Let's test the fit. Yep, it's good. Don't leave it in there because it will cure and will become permanently bonded. You'll never get it out, and that's bad. Just going to do this to, well, there you go. See, I told you the hands come off. Do that to make sure that it's in there really good. All right. And as I said, these hands are removable. So there you go. If you want to take them out, take it off while you're sculpting, it's kind of handy. I won't probably be doing that, but I will probably do that with the head. Maybe not this particular character, but it's certainly, especially with weirder creature characters, when you really want to get in there and work on the head, you might want to take it off, and that way, what you can do is you can get a piece of brass tubing and create, a little stand, and just take your head and just stick it down like that and work on it. Okay, so now that we've got that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this head, then I'm going to take, I can take steel wire, or what I'm probably going to do is take this slightly larger gauge, the 16th inch gauge armature wire. I'm going to cut a little piece off here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it tightly around the head. Why am I doing this? Because clay will not stick to this smooth armature wire. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap these arms as well. I'm pretty good on the legs because I've got a twist there in the legs. But I would also suggest doing the same thing with steel gauge wire when you have fingers like these, because again, the clay could just slip right off these fingers. So what you're going to want to do is wrap I'm using 28 inch gauge or 28 gauge. I don't know if that's 20th of an inch or not, but it's 28 gauge steel wire, and I'm going to wrap that around each finger. And doing that is going to allow me to stack clay on there and not have it just slide around and slip off. Okay. Okay, so there we go. And there is the final piece. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend this around in a circle to make a head that my clay will stick to. But I'm not going to do that until this is completely cured. So I'm going to wait an hour before doing that. And then I'm going to stick this in there, get it in there. And by the way, if you get too much in there and you have a problem and this thing won't go all the way in or anything like that, just grab your drill and drill a little bit out, because the drill will go straight through that plumber's putty. It becomes like a rock, like a concrete. So once this is completely cured, I'm going to stick this in there, and then I'm going to use my armature map to figure out exactly where I want the head and make sure I get it just right. but also waiting until this is completely cured so that I have the ability to remove it later. And what I've done here is I've created an armature that I will use to sculpt the figure. When I and it's got it does have, this armature has to survive the molding process. What it does not have to do is not going to be laid into a mold and have to survive a casting process. That will actually be a different armature that will look a little bit more like this, and I'm going to go ahead and use tubing to create bones. Here I've used heat shrink on this one to create the upper bones, and that allows me to make an armature that just bends right where I want it to bend. You know, this is plumber's putty for the hands, and does exactly what I want it to do, but it's much simpler in some ways than this armature because it's